more liposuction, fat transfer, and smart lipo. And today I'm going to give you some bonus information on uh, longevity and how to live a longer life. But more importantly, in living a longer life, we want to live a better life, one that we're able to do things and functionality, because it would be a shame to live to be 100 years old, but you're in a wheelchair for 60 years of that life. That would suck, in my opinion. But everybody's definition of life and good and bad is all different, right? So, but I'm going to talk to the people today who are interested in living longer, but more importantly, living a healthier, more functional life than they would have done otherwise. Something's wrong with Instagram. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, the information that I'm going to be providing today, I recently went to a conference in Orlando. It's a biohacking conference, and the biohacking conference is the new technologies, supplements, and different habits and things that can be done in order to extend your life. But more importantly, again, it's living that healthy life, that functional life, that where you have the ability to do the things that you want to do, and be present in your family and your friends' lives for a longer period of time. Many of you may, like myself, my grandparents died at a young, when I was young, so I didn't really get to know them very well. In fact, on my father's side, I didn't get to know them at all. They died before I was born. So I don't want that to be the case in my life. I would like to be a grandfather. I'd like to be a great grandfather, and if I'm really lucky, I'd like to be a great great grandfather while I'm still alive. So my hopes, right? Okay. What's up, Stacy Dinga? Stacy Pierre. I'm not sure what name you go by, but I know it's your birthday today, so happy birthday, Stacy. And thank you for coming on here live for your birthday. Appreciate that. So here's some basic information that I kind of knew about, but I wasn't, when you hear things over and over from different sources, it kind of reinforces the importance and value that you give to it. So, one of the things that many of you may have heard is that, with all the electronic items that we have, I mean, like I'm sitting in a big ball of magnetic fields right here. There's lights all around me. My cell phones, I got 3 cell phones in front of me, an iPad, computers, lights, and I mean, there's like everything is electronic, and it's the energy that they produce a field of energy. And as many of you may have heard, in quantum physics theory now, which is accepted, very well accepted in the science world at this point, that we know that the basic components, basic elements of everything is the proton, neutron, and electron, and those are electric. It's electricity, and so therefore everything is electricity in one form or another. Now, once you start to understand that, and you start addressing yourself as an electrical being, then you can start making small adjustments that will create like a ripple effect. And when you're able to improve the cellular function of your body at electrical level, then it affects every other aspect of your body. As your body, the functionality, everything that it does. Many of disease processes come about because our body is out of sync. And this is something that has been, it's been thousands of years in the Chinese, and they understand this. The chi, that's the energy, the life force. Prana is the Indian version. It's the same concept has been discussed for thousands of years, but now the Western world, the scientists, they're finally coming up with their proof that they needed to actually believe this stuff. So one of the things that I was unaware of is that how bad these are, how much they're harming our body. And here's the thing: what they found is that our resonant frequency, which means the frequency that our bodies like to be at in our brain waves, like to function at is between 2 and 30 hertz. And coincidentally, the Earth has a resonant frequency of about 7.2 to 7.8 hertz. Now, it's a low frequency. Now, why does it make a difference? Well, our bodies function well at these lower frequencies. All of our body functions, whether that's the mind, whether it's your organs, the cellular level, everything functions at these lower frequencies. However, the frequencies of a lot of the things that are around us, electromagnetic fields around us, or the EMFs around us, they are operating at a much higher frequency. And this higher frequency throws our body off. Even if it's like a slight, where it throws us off when we're exposed to it, this is where you kind of get these premonitions, like when you walk into a room and you just get a feeling. That's that slight, it throws you off just a little bit, it makes you feel just a little bit, you're not really sure what's going on. And most people, this happens at such a subconscious level, we have no idea. And because you don't understand how energy works, even though you expose yourself to it and then you have an issue, most of us don't pick that up, as they don't correlate the two together. And so when you start to think of yourself as an energetic being, you can start making decisions better. Okay? Now, ironically, I'm discussing this, and yet I'm sitting in this, there's electricity all over, and I'm just bathing in this stuff, and it's probably not the best thing for me. So what I'm going to discuss are different ways that you can reduce the effects of EMF on your body, and there's a couple different technologies that I thought were pretty interesting. There's basic stuff that they sell. That's so anything that is silver or copper lined. So they make clothing or materials that are infused with silver threads and copper threads, and any of these will block the effects of the EMF. So therefore, they created clothing, so shirts, underwear, shirts, hats, sweatshirts, whatever. And mostly they're trying to protect the head, the core, and the genitals, because these are, obviously what we're most concerned about. However, it's going to affect. To me, that doesn't really make sense, because the EMFs are going to affect every part of our body and our cells. Even if it affects our legs, the cells are going to go back up and affect the rest of our body. So there's other forms that you can do. So we know that the EMFs are emitted from our cell phones, so you can get cell phone covers. The earbuds that we put on our ears, those are not good for us either. So they actually make different earbuds that are more protectant. And the way that these work is the speaker is down here, and they have an air tube, and so the sound is projected through an air tube. It actually works pretty well, but then that means you're wired again. So apparently the headphones by themselves, just wired, is better than the Bluetooth. The Bluetooth and Wi-Fi are emitting these signals that throw us off. If you guys have any questions, I'm gonna look through here and see if you guys need anything clarified. Yes, don't forget to join the support group. Any of you who are interested in liposuction, fat transfer, or just you're ready to transform your life and change everything, you can join our Facebook support group. You just go on Facebook and you search My Shape Lipo Support Group, and you'll get that. And Stacy's on Instagram promoting that, so you can follow there. Okay, if anyone has any questions, Stacy's happy to answer. So EMF. Now, there's also different technologies. This is where you start to get into this, because we don't see things, and humans in general, if we don't see it, we don't believe it, or we don't really take it as being serious, because we can't see the immediate effects. So therefore, we believe, our minds try to tell us that it's not that big of a deal. So, but there's different technologies that's because you can't really see it, you can't feel it. It kind of feels like hocus pocus. And I'll be honest with you, I get that feeling too, even though I'm getting more and more knowledge and information that points me in the direction of this stuff's real, and this stuff, it makes a big difference. And there's lots of different studies that are corroborating this information. So there's different technologies that are meant to, shall we say, buffer the EMFs or counteract them. And so they essentially will create like a bubble around you, which will balance out the frequencies in the surrounding area. So those are they're objects essentially, and they emit. So these are placement appropriate. So meaning that you can't go once you go outside of this field, it's like you're outside of the bubble. So that's one way to do it, but you can put these things like in your house or your office where you spend more time, and that they can help block the EMFs in that area. Um, there's also there's also technologies that actually infuse the positive pulsed energy into us. And so there's mats that you can lay on. And so this will be synonymous with what you may have heard the term grounding. And so grounding is the practice of going out into nature and like in the grass and actually physically touching the ground. And what that's doing, just like as in an electrical circuit, you have a ground and a positive. So you have positive and negative. So you need to create the circuit. And so when we ground, you can walk on grass, and the grass, and you connect with the earth, and the frequency of the earth emits through you, and then it balances out your frequencies. Now, that's great. However, most of us don't have the time to go walk around for a half hour and an hour in the grass, or lay under a tree all day, which would be great. I'd love to do that, right? But we don't always have the time to do that. So they have these technologies called a PEMF mats, and these are and it's called pulse EMF energy, and it's pulsing at the lower frequencies, which basically get your body in tune. So it counteracts the effects, because essentially the higher frequency stuff gets your body out of sync, and it leads to headaches, dizziness, muscle fatigue, tiredness. All these things would be improved if you were on a better frequency. So I'm in at the conclusion of a 4-day juicing cleanse, and so this is the juice that I chose. I got this on Amazon. It's called Raw Fountain. This one's pretty good. You guys can check it out. I know this is backwards, so you guys probably aren't seeing anything. But if you guys see this and you recognize it on Amazon, you can purchase these. I got a 7-day cleanse, and it was about 200 and something. So I mean, they're not cheap, but I think it's better than going and juicing the stuff yourself. But to be honest with you, even if you have a juicer and you have to buy all the materials, it's probably about the same cost, but you have the time to consider as well. So the juice cleanses are pretty cool. Now, one of the other things for longevity, there's a couple different functions that you need to start considering. Is that our body needs to, first of all, we're being exposed to all these different toxins. So our body is this amazing machine that can detoxify us. And so we have our organs like our liver and our kidneys and our intestines that suck out all the toxins, and then we excrete them. Okay. So sometimes when you don't address this and cleanse out your organs can get, shall we say, sludge in them. And so you get so many toxins that the filtration system gets clogged up. And when the filtration system gets clogged up, the organs don't work as well. And many of you, I've heard this story so many times. I can't, I've been dieting and exercising, and it's just not, my body doesn't work the same as it did when I was younger. Now think about this, because you probably said the same thing. You believe that you heal slower when you get older. You believe that your metabolism slows down when you get older. You believe that you get muscle weakness when you get older and you lose muscle. You believe that you lose bone mass as you get older, and that's just, we've accepted these things as natural aging processes. But, I like to tell people, we've been told a bunch of bullshit, and that's all bullshit. Medicine has been telling us this stuff for decades. We've been told that our genes dictate everything, and if our parents had cancer, we're going to get cancer. If our parents had this, we're going to get this. And we're finding now in science that that's total nonsense, and it's just not true. And so instead of searching for who you are, it's about creating who you want to be. And it's just a slight shift in the mindset. Now, most of the people believe that they're somehow going to, who they are is going to be exposed to them, and they're waiting their whole life. And what I'm here to tell you is you have the power to create whatever you want. So even if you if you have made poor decisions in the past and you've gained a bunch of weight and you're tired and you're depressed and you're you just don't have the motivation, that's okay. Because when you start to realize that that state was created by the things that you did in the past, that state that you're in now, it was created. You created it. And then if once you take responsibility for that and realize that it was all of my actions, it was all the food that I ate, it was all the times that I didn't go to the gym, it was all the times that I got up in the middle of the night and was eating Oreo cookies, or the nights that I was eating when no one was around, and all the times when nobody saw you doing these things. That's what created it. So once you realize that and you take responsibility, then you can start making the changes consciously. Make those changes. And now the first thing that I would say is because we're getting exposed to all these toxins, and because we have that sludge in our organs, the first thing you want to start doing is start to cleanse out those organs. So the juice cleanse is a great way to do it. It's a gentle way to cleanse them out and get you started on a new path. Now, for me, what I'm choosing to do is this cleanse is just the start for me. I've been doing this for a while, and I practice all the things that I teach. So I'm not teaching this stuff and then not doing it. This is stuff that I do. In fact, there's a lot of other things that I do that I just don't talk about because, it's controversial and people don't necessarily want to hear about it. But when you guys are ready for it, I'll share more. So with the cleanse, you cleanse out the organ. It's a starting point. I also have been doing the colon cleanse, and so they push saline into your rectum, and it washes out the inside, and all the crap comes out. Okay, it's another way of cleansing, getting the toxins out of our organs. The colon cleanse is important. They say that the crap stuff is caked to the side of the colons, and many people can have upwards of 15 to 20 pounds of caked poop, essentially, and waste products that your body's not getting rid of. And the longer they stay in your system, it leaches into your system. So you got a continuous fuel of toxins that are coming into your body. So it's another way to cleanse out. There are also a very specific detox protocols that you can do. Heavy metals are a big problem that many of us have been exposed to, and the problem with heavy metals is that heavy metals are not excreted by our body. Once they're bound to our cells, they stay forever. At least that's what they say. So there are ways and different protocols that you can do to bind with the metals and then give you the ability to excrete them. So after I finish my cleanse, after I finish doing my colon cleanse as well, we are going to start doing a detox. And the detox is a bunch of various herbs and supplements and things of that nature that are meant to get your body moving in a proper way. And so what it's doing is it's pushing out all the toxins, and then there's a binding agent that binds to the stuff and then allows your colon to excrete it through feces. Let's see if you guys have any questions here. And I'll tell we do liposuction, fat transfer. So if you guys have questions about that, I'll answer that stuff as well. But I'm trying to educate you and expand your horizons a little bit. Help you wake up and become a little bit more conscious of the world around you. What's up, Herberto Fonseca? Coming in let's see, what did he say? Coming in November. Awesome. Okay, so once we cleanse out the organs, then you have the ability to fully detox. And the detox, from my understanding, like as I said, there are supplements and things of that nature, but from my understanding, our body will go into natural detox and start shedding all the toxins upon fasting. So when you stop eating food, your body will start breaking down and creating energy from what you already have. And in doing so, it stimulates the process of turnover in our body. Now, a really interesting thing that I heard is that our body completely turns over the cells. Every single cell that we have today will be completely different within 7 years. Now, there's also parts of our body, like our skin, it turns over every week or so. We're constantly sloughing off skin. It's the same thing on the internal organs. Some of like the more friable organs and the tissue will turn over a lot quicker. It's the bone that takes a lot longer to turn over. But eventually, our entire body, every single molecule, everything in our body turns over within 7 years. So now, if you man, that's exciting, right? Because if you realize that, that means that we're starting to create from day one, right? So if you can live a healthy lifestyle for 7 years, you're going to be a completely different person. I mean, completely. Either way, you're going to be a completely different person. But if you continue to do the things that are causing harm, then you're going to continue to recreate those same problems, and your body will store that as a memory. And if you, so basically, if you do bad things, your body will continue to remember that those bad things are supposed to harm you. So it'll react by doing the bad things, and you'll be sick. Okay, so you got to start doing things that are in line with your ultimate goal. So detoxing and cleansing, and there's a lot of different options available for that. There's also interesting ways to biohack your mind. And this is something that I've been really focused on for the past few years, and it's about learning faster. Because I had this is a great story. So I went to the Tony Robbins conference, and Tony Robbins has this story about his personal story, which inspired me to recreate the same thing. But his story was, and when he first got started, he went he was getting into public speaking, and as with any public speaking, you get anxious and nervous, and the fear, it closes in on you, and it'll stop you from taking action, right? So he was really motivated, and so he went to Toastmasters. He said, I don't even know where else to go to learn how to be a speaker, right? So you go to Toastmasters, and he went to Toastmasters, and Toastmasters means once a month. So once a month you give a speech and you practice, and then you come back a month again and do it again. And so in 1 year you get 12 speeches, right? So 12 speeches in 1 year. And Tony's like, man, this is frustrating because I want to move a lot faster. I don't want to sit here and wait for the experience to get 12 speeches under my belt. So he decided, what if I went and did a speech, once a week? So he started doing once a week. And that means in a year he'd get 52, or in 12 weeks he'd get the equivalent of a year's worth of experience that he would have gotten through Toastmasters. And then he was like, okay, this makes sense. And he started to get better at what he was doing. His craft improved, right? And he was getting better faster because he was getting more experience in a more compact period of time. And so he said, well, what if I did one speech every day of the week? And so 7 days a week, he was doing one speech. And again, you compare to doing 12 speeches in a year versus 7 in a week. And so, which means in 12 days, you would have equivalent of a year's worth of experience in public speaking. And he took it one step further, and he was doing 3 or 4 different speeches a day. And that's why Tony Robbins is now a billionaire. And he's a public speaker that draws crowds of upwards of 15 to 20,000. I mean, he packs stadiums like a rock star for people to come, and they sit there for 3 or 4 days. And he is an animal that just goes for like 12 hours to 14 hours a day in speaking. And it's the Tony show when you go to a Tony Robbins event. It's Tony, and he gives you everything. And it's really amazing to watch, and it's inspiring. So I took the same concept of, I call it compressing time, and where you try to learn something, and I was a soccer player, right? So we went to practice, once or twice a week, and I realized, well, what if you go more? What if you practice every day? What if you're always doing? Well, as it turns out, it worked. You get better faster. So liposuction, I did the same thing. I started compacting in and getting, more procedures in a smaller period of time. I got more experience, and sure enough, I got better in a lot faster time. Now it's been 15 years. I've been doing that for 15 years. I probably have 30, 40, 50 years of experience when you compare to some of these other doctors that are doing a fraction of what I do, and they extend it out. So instead of extending it out, I try to pack it in so we get more experience. And the downside to these type of things is you accelerate everything, right? And in the whole learning process, there's always going to be negatives, right? So you accelerate the negatives, but you accelerate the positives as well. So when you accelerate the negatives, you have more issues to deal with, more things that come up and pop up, randomly, and so you deal with that stuff. But the crazy thing is that you learn to deal with it, and not only that, you get better at dealing with problems. So that's where you can become a higher achiever. And now this is something when I call it compressed time. You can compress the time in anything. You can learn faster in anything that you do. And the same thing when you talk about improving your health. You can do it significantly faster if you want. Now, some people, they like to spread things out over a long period of time, and like they take 5 years to lose the weight and change their life, but it doesn't have to be that way. And you can see this publicly, like time and time again. It's all over the place. You go look on Facebook and Instagram, and there's people transforming their lives, and it happens, boom, it happens quick. It can. It doesn't have to, but it can. And if you want to push yourself, you want to extend, and you want to improve faster, you can do it. So what we're talking about now is doing things that are going to help you live your life longer. Okay, liposuction, it plays into this. It's a biohack in that you can lose weight naturally, as they call it, right? Or we can take the fat out and you can continue to lose the weight naturally. So it's a double whammy, right? And so we're able to get you there a lot faster. But the thing is most people don't realize, and they say, oh yeah, we just need to control what we eat and and exercise more, and we can do it with diet and exercise, right? But many of you will realize that you have the same shape that you did when you were younger. You're just a bigger version of it. And when you lose weight, it's the same shape. You're just a smaller version of it. So liposuction totally flips the script, because when we make you smaller, it's specific. We make you specifically smaller in a specific area, which is you can create these hourglass figures, and it's unbelievable, and it happens quick. Okay, these procedures, it takes like 45 minutes to 2-3 hours, but the changes happen quick. Now, obviously, you have to recover and repair afterwards, and so that takes some time. But overall, we are accelerating the process for you to transform your life. And if you're looking to compress time and increase the transformation and speed up the process, this is one phenomenal option. Now, as we were discussing earlier, you have the cleansing process, the detox process. So you're getting out all the garbage in your body, all the toxins that we've been building up in our system. So once you start getting out all the toxins, then it's about rebuilding. And so there's many different technologies and supplements out there that are meant to rebuild our body. And one of the interesting things that I've heard recently is about the mitochondria. The mitochondria, if you guys might remember from biology class, and I'm not going to put out all this really. I don't like using big terms and stuff like that because I'm not that smart. So, but the mitochondria is a piece of the cell that they found that produces the energy, or they call it ATP. Now, the ATP is what gives us the energy to do everything in life, and so it's vital, right? And the interesting thing that I don't really understand how this works, but they say that the mitochondria, it wasn't originally in our cells. They say we evolved, and the mitochondria came into the cells, almost as if it was like an alien being. So these mitochondria act in a way to produce more energy. Now, there's different supplements now that you can utilize to increase and support the activity of the mitochondria to further enhance the energy production. And imagine if your body has more energy to do all the functions in the organ. And like when you think of energy, you think about like not drinking coffee, drinking coffee or having the energy to go run around at night and club or do whatever. But that's not it. Our body uses energy for every function. Our brain uses about 20% of the energy that our body produces. So just sitting and thinking all day long and working at a desk, you're using a ton of energy from just your brain. So the mitochondria, if we can support the mitochondria, it'll enhance them to allow the increased production of energy, which will allow your body to function properly. Again, it allows your body to function properly for a longer period of time. And when you start getting into this realm of toxification, which usually happens, it starts building up in our systems by in your third, fourth, and fifth decade, and that's when coincidentally many of the long-term chronic diseases start to form, like the high blood pressure, the diabetes, the heart disease, the high cholesterol, um, then autoimmune type diseases like fibromyalgia. Many of these things, Western medicine has described them in a certain way that makes it sound like it's not your fault, and we're just going to give you drugs to try to cover it up for you. And that's kind of been the mindset of what Western medicine has done for many, many years. And now with the knowledge and wisdom that they've gained from science and quantum physics, they know that how our body functions on a cellular level, and that if we can start supporting ourselves at a cellular level, it works from the ground up. You create that foundation, and you can improve your health and live a much longer life, um, where you can function at a much higher level. And so that's the goal. That's what I'm looking to do. And some of you might be looking to do that, and some of you might not. Some of you might just just want to fit in your jeans, or be able to walk down the street. So I'll get back to liposuction. If you guys want to ask liposuction questions, I'll answer those. Okay, do you suggest people come from a different state? Yeah, actually, about 85% of our patients are flying in from out of state. So we try to make it as easy as possible. We do our consultations virtually. On Instagram, I just pinned the link. So I think you're gonna have to copy and paste that on Instagram because they won't do a direct link. But on Facebook, there's also open the post where you can click on the link. Now, there's two different options for our consultations. We have a free consultation, which obviously you can take advantage of, but we also offer a expedited paid consultation. So for $100, we'll have you jump to the line. You'll get it directly with me or my partner Kale. And yeah, so it's expedited in that you'll get it within a couple days. I work fast. It's the rest of the staff that they're really backed up. So and there's tons of people that wanted those free consultations, so we're booked out to like December. So if you're really serious, you're looking to get this procedure done as soon as possible, the $100 fee is deducted from your procedure costs. So just pay for it, get the $100, and then you can move forward with the procedure a lot faster. Because we're booked out for about a month and a half on procedures, so you can definitely get in sooner than you could. You can get in sooner for a procedure than you can for a consultation, unfortunately, for the free ones at least. Yeah, Montreal, Canada. Interesting thing, Canadians. We had, when I first started this practice in about, 12 years ago, for some reason, I don't know what it was, but we got tons of Canadians. Like 10% of my practice was Canadian. So the Canadians were coming from all over, and all of them were telling me that there was a couple reasons. For one, I guess the Canadian dollar was more expensive. I don't know, currency rates, how that works. Two, they also said that there's a shortage of doctors that actually perform liposuction, and the ones that don't do it very often, so the results are eh. So then also, because there weren't that many of them, the ones that did do it, they were booked out for like 6 months to a year. And then once you were able to get in, you come to find out that they were charging like 7 to 8 grand an area. So we charge upper and lower abdomen, 2 areas. They would do the same, except it would be 7 grand an area. So 14,000 just for the front of the abdomen, and this is very small people, and they wouldn't treat larger individuals like we do. So Canadians came. They came in droves, and it was awesome. I love Canadians. So Montreal's awesome. I'd love to go up there. I've been to, where did I go? I don't know, we went on a cruise years ago. Went up to Canada and Alaska. So it was up there on the border. I think it was Vancouver. These juices are actually pretty good. Pretty good. This one, just in case you guys are curious, has pineapple, apples, collard greens, and cucumber. And it's actually pretty good. I don't mind it at all. In fact, the company recommends that you drink those as snacks. So even when you're not fasting, you can just drink the juices as snacks or supplements for your greens. All right. Stacy says my shaped lipo is a real deal. You know, all the pictures that you see behind us, these are not, we didn't take them. These are pictures that the patients are taking and they're posting publicly. So, you know, that's why, it's the backgrounds are like their house. None of the stuff is in our office. None of the people are in, you know, gowns and, stuff like that. So they're showing off their bodies, how they feel comfortable showing off their bodies. But the cool thing and the thing that I think that I want to highlight is the fact that they are showing off their bodies. So how many of you are hiding your bodies, hiding the way that you look, in fear that someone might see what you actually look like? They finally might see what your problem areas are, what your issues are. So when you start hiding, it's like a mindset. It sets you down this path where you're hiding everything in your life, and you're scared, and it's a low level of fear that you experience on a regular basis. And you know what fear feels, like that sinking feeling in your stomach, that someone's going to find out your dirty secret, you know and many people cover up. And what does that mean exactly? It means wearing baggy clothes. It means avoidance is huge for people that are hiding. So they avoid situations, they avoid people, they avoid going in public, they avoid going to places where they might have to expose themselves, so like pools and beaches and things of that nature. They hide, and it's something that's just become a part of your life. Those of you that are hiding, and you maybe think, oh no, I just don't like going to those places. That's bullshit, and you've been lying to yourself a long time. When you say you don't like doing these fun things, um, if you go back to the root, in most cases it's because you were hiding from something. And I'm not infallible. I had my chest treated in liposuction, and I can tell you, when I was younger, uh, college, high school, I had these like little man boobs, and it bugged the shit out of me. It really bugged the crap out of me. And so, I hid it. How did I hide it? I used to wear double shirts. So I used to wear t-shirts underneath. I used maybe two t-shirts underneath. It made it thicker. I also would wear those those tank tops that were really tight. So they were tight. They held everything tight, and it. So then you wear a shirt on top of it, which made everything look a little bit smoother, and that helped. I also walked around with a hunched back, and it made it so my shirt was leaning forward, so you wouldn't see it was like the shape of the boobs, right? So I hid. I know this stuff really well, and because I know it personally, I can see it. I see it in other people, and that's and then when I deal with these people, I speak to them. When they come to me, I do these procedures. I talk to them for an hour, 2, 3 hours, and I know all this stuff. I've heard the same stuff thousands and thousands of times. So I have so much experience in this, and I can see it. I can see it. And if I see it, I know other people are seeing it too. And so don't think that when you're hiding this stuff by wearing like big baggy clothes, don't think that's actually hiding, because it's not. Everybody knows that you wear those big baggy things because you don't want people to see the shapes. You don't want people to see the folds. You don't want people to see the irregularities, the things that you're not happy with, or whatever the case. So when you're ready to transform your life and change everything about yourself, when you're ready to improve and become the best version of yourself, liposuction it's a stepping stone. Okay, this young lady here, Gilbert, she's had multiple procedures done, and it's transformed her life. And you can see, it's like and I mention this quite often, that in the before pictures, the people are rarely smiling. They're like always like somber and sad and upset. And after photos, you got this huge smile, and it's like it just comes natural. And I think that people are smiling more often, and it naturally happens. And I know from my research in happiness, because I researched happiness too. I read a bunch of books, like 15 books on happiness. One of the main things they said is that the simple act of smiling Simple act of smiling, it stimulates dopamine and serotonin in your brain, which are the happy chemicals. So most people think I'll smile after I get happy, but in fact, the exact opposite is true. If you smile first, happiness follows. Interesting, right? So try it. So go home and try smiling in the mirror. Practice smiling, and you'll get more comfortable smiling. You got to work out those muscles. And the other thing that if that doesn't get you, they say that it takes like something like 45 muscles to frown, and like 8 or 9 to smile. So you're using less energy to smile than it does to frown. So you're using a lot of energy to show people how unhappy you are or angry you are. And that doesn't make sense, right? You got to use your energy for positive things. Okay, what juice are you drinking? Stacy, this was this raw fountain. Got it on Amazon. You can get everything on Amazon. Okay. Okay. Someone on Instagram says, I had a tummy tuck, but they did not lipo enough. I am still pudgy. Very, very common. So, first of all, I am an advocate for not doing tummy tucks. I don't like tummy tucks. I think the scars are nasty and the results are mediocre at best. And typically, they don't do enough liposuction, which leaves you pudgy. And then if you don't change your lifestyle after a tummy tuck, you just recreate the same problem. You get big again. I've seen these people, and it happens. But the same thing happens after liposuction too. If you don't change your lifestyle, you're going to gain weight, but you're just not going to gain necessarily in the area that we treated. You'll gain all the rest of the areas. Now, we never remove 100%, so it's still definitely possible to gain weight. Like say we create that hourglass figure today. If you continue eating poorly for the next 3, 4, 5 years, maybe you're going to get big again. Maybe you don't ever get as big as you were before, but you're going to get big in all the other surrounding areas, because all it does is when you gain weight, it affects the fat cells. The fat cells swell up. So the liposuction, we remove the fat cells, and the fat cells don't reproduce. So there will be some fat cells left behind in certain areas, but if you live a healthy lifestyle, you can keep those in check, and the effects of gaining weight will be less prevalent. So absolutely, if yes, get liposuction after you've had a tummy tuck, and it's awesome. There's probably some girls on here that have had some of my patients, because I do lots of them, that have had tummy tucks, and the results are awesome afterwards. You get the skin's gone, and all we're doing is taking out the fat. We can create the hourglass figure in the shape, and it's cool. So, all right. So what happens to the extra skin? See, this is one of those myths that the plastic surgeons like you to believe, is that like, as if you don't have any potential to heal or tighten your skin. That's what they want you to believe. But again, as with most things that the experts are trying to tell you, that's bullshit. Is because our skin does have the capacity to heal. It does have the capacity to tighten up. Doesn't matter what age you are. Doesn't matter how much loose skin you have. You always have the capacity. The question is what is your capacity in comparison to someone else's capacity? Now, you'll see so many of these pictures where that fold, that pannus, it goes away completely. Now, not everybody has the same capacity for that to happen, but a lot of people do. I've seen it. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, because I haven't kept statistics on what people have achieved what and what have not, but I'll tell you, I would say upwards of 95% of the people, the fold goes away completely. And I'm talking even people that we have patients that are 300 pounds, that their belly was folded down, hanging 6 inches, 8 inches below their pubic area, and the fold goes away completely. It's amazing. It blows me away. Still to this day, it blows me away of what's possible. And all you have to do is realize that it is possible. Then you can start moving in the right direction. But when you can't gain your motivation because you don't believe that something's possible, you don't believe that you can achieve, you don't believe that you can be thin again, you don't believe that you can be active again, you don't believe that you can be happy or not depressed. If you don't believe it, then it's never going to happen, because it's all in your mind. If you believe it can happen, then you can create anything that you want. And it's just like a path. And fortunately, there's like thousands and thousands of people that have walked the path already. So you're not making shit up anymore. None of us are. All you have to do is follow the path. Get on the My Shape Lipo support group. You'll see there's so many of these women that are going down this path. Now, obviously you're going down this path and it's possible to you're going to get some offshoots and people that, everyone's a little bit different. So it's not a perfect path, right? And it's not always the same, and things are different, but you can see where it goes. You can see the actions that you take have consequences, karma. So when you take certain actions, there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction. So when you do something that's negative, it's going to reflect back and hit you. So you eat bad food, it's going to reflect back and hit you right in the body, and changes happen, right? And you'll have that opposite reaction to all the negative things that you do. But similarly, this is a cool thing. Similarly, is when you do positive things, it attracts more positive to you. When you start acting positive and you're happier and you're in a better mood, you'll tend to affect the people around you, and the people around you will tend to be happier. They'll notice, and when they notice that you're in a good mood, that you're happy, it'll make them feel better, and they'll be happy, and they'll be less likely to be that stick in the mud and complaining all the time. So you influence the world around you, and coincidentally, that's an energetic being. The energy that we give off affects all of those around you, and that's why when you walk into a room, sometimes, or you're in a room and all of a sudden someone walks in and it's like a dark cloud comes over and everybody knows this person's, like when your boss walks in, it's probably when I walk in a room with my employees, a dark cloud comes over. But you can sense this stuff. Most people can. And I'll tell you, the people that are more sensitive to the energetic world, they can sense this quite easily. But most of you, everybody has the capability. Most of you are able to do it, but you just don't recognize. You don't realize what you're sensing. But we all have the ability. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions. I see a lot of you jumping on here. Maybe you got a lot are new here.
Go to YouTube.
Okay, let's see. We got some YouTube stuff. Okay, is it better to have lipo before bariatric surgery to prevent loose skin? Okay, so this is a debate that I don't know the right answer of when this is to happen. When it's best to get the liposuction, before, after, or how far after bariatric surgery. I've done all of it. I don't have statistics on it. So what I'm speaking on is my feeling of how well things have gone. And my experience, when people lose a large amount of weight, so when I'm talking large amount of weight, I'm going to say like 50 to 100 pounds. Those people, one, the skin doesn't tighten up as well. And you'll see that when, you guys may have seen some of these people when they lose, 50 or 100 pounds, their skin's just like sagging like a loose hanging sack of skin. Now, those people who don't really have fat left, they just have loose skin, you might be better to get the skin cut away. However, if you still have a thick layer of fat, that's what liposuction is good for. And the process of removing the fat stimulates the body's natural healing response, which will innately tighten the skin up. It always does. However, after you've already lost a bunch of weight, your skin has less potential than someone else that hasn't lost that amount of weight. It also seems that the fat is a lot more difficult to remove when people have lost a significant amount of weight. So my theory on that and how that works and why that works is that as we get larger, our body has to support the fat, and the fat is being pulled down with gravity. So our body has to support it so everything doesn't just fall down to the ground. So what does our body do? It creates more connective tissue. The connective tissue is like it's collagen, it's fibers that are like it works almost like 2x4s, and it creates this like lace mesh net that just holds. It goes in between all the fat particles and cells and holds everything together. Now it does a great job for so long. If you're 300 pounds for decades, it'll start sagging further and further because the body just can't support it. So what I believe is that when we lose an abundance of weight, all those fibrous tissue that's supporting the fat cells themselves, they shrink up. And so now you get less fat and more connective tissue. So there seems to be more connective tissue and less of the fat. So, and getting the fat cells out is a difficult job, to say the least. It's hard to break through that stuff, and even when you are able to break through it, it seems that we don't get out as much. So, and it's not saying that it's the wrong thing to do. We still get good results. We're still able to get things, but I think it's more difficult to get the fat out. The skin doesn't necessarily tighten up as quickly and easily as we want it to. This is when you lose dramatic amounts of weight, so 50 to 100 pounds. So my recommendations, I would say get liposuction before you do bariatric surgery, and you may not even need the bariatric surgery after all. You know, if you start changing your lifestyle habits and you start doing cleanses to cleanse out your organs so your organs start working properly, you'll find that it's easier to lose weight when your body is working right. It's easier for things to function, and they start functioning the way they did before when you were younger, when you didn't have all these toxins in your system. So when you change your lifestyle coupled with liposuction, you can get some amazing results. Now, when people do bariatric surgery, you have to change your lifestyle anyways. And the crazy thing is like bariatric surgery, if you don't realize what all they're doing is they're basically shrinking your stomach. And so when you shrink your stomach, all that does is make it so you can't gorge yourself. And if you do, you're going to vomit and feel like crap. So what if you just controlled yourself and didn't stuff the food down your mouth? What if you could do that? It's possible, right? What if you were able to fight those cravings? What if you were able to eat less? What if you were able to exercise more? You know, those are things that you could be doing. Now, some of you might say, well, I've already tried all that stuff, and, you know, and that it didn't work for me, and I didn't get the results, and so you're resorting to bariatric surgery as kind of like a last resort type thing. So, and that's cool. I'm not here to judge anybody. It is what it is. And again, I know everyone's different. So some people are able to get results with the things I'm talking about. Some people are not. It's okay. Hell, if everybody was able to do this with diet and exercise, then they wouldn't need liposuction either. So clearly, there's a breaking point where you're just not able to get the results that you're looking for. Now, I believe a big part of the reason why you're not getting the results is because your organs are sludge. And so cleansing and detoxing is like the first step. That's the first step. Once you get that stuff taken care of, then once your body's working right, it's like magic. I mean, these bodies, these vehicles, these suits, these whatever you want to call them that we have here, it's incredible what they're able to do. It detoxifies everything naturally, and it works amazing. But it's like a Ferrari. You have to tune it up and get things right, and and keep doing the things that are necessary in order to get the results that you're looking for. So if you're struggling and you're kind of at this point where nothing's working for you, just try cleansing and detoxing. Try it and go research it and figure out how you can do it better. And then not only that, because now that once you cleanse and you detox and you get all these toxins out of you, and it's like you feel good, but then if you go back into the same situations where you're just inundated with toxins, then you're just going to recreate the same problem, right? And that's like the same thing that I was talking about. If we suck the fat out, but then you go right back into the same situation where you have poor habits, and whether that's eating or exercise or whatever the case, and you jump right back into the bad habits, even though we did something good, you're eventually going to get to the bad again, because those bad habits just recreate the same problems. So this is the same issue with the toxins, is that once you get the toxins out of your system, if you don't do the things that are necessary to if you don't do the things that are necessary to stop the toxins from getting into your system, then you're just going to clog your organs back up again. Now, inevitably, it may happen anyways, because we're all exposed to a lot of environmental toxins, regardless of what you do. There's no way that you can put yourself in a bubble and not be exposed to any toxins, nor would you want to. We got to live life, right? But you got to do the things that you can protect yourself. And so, there's some toxins, there's some simple stuff, and I'll just rattle off a few here that you guys are probably being exposed to that you should consider changing. and these are some lesser known things like deodorant, for example. There's aluminum in deodorant that it causes a lot of problems. I had this problem with my armpits where I was putting on deodorant all the time. And there's the antiperspirant typically that has what did I just say? Aluminum. That has the aluminum in there, and the aluminum affects the tissue. And I actually developed these little nodules into my armpit, and it was painful and it was weird. I was like, I didn't know what it was, and then someone told me it's aluminum. It's like destroying your tissue. I said, oh crap, okay, let's change this. So I switched out and you get some organic type deodorant, and it solves the problem. Okay, cool. My issue was gone. Where else are you getting toxins from? Toothpaste. So a lot of us we've been told that fluoride makes you strong teeth. Well, that's bullshit. What fluoride actually does is it blocks your and stiffens the pineal gland. The pineal gland allows you to be more open to mystical type experiences, and opening your third eye. And this is all been shown through science. So I'm not making this stuff up. But fluoride is not good for you, so you can change that, right? So get a different toothpaste. There's fluoride-free toothpaste. Real easy. Okay. What else? We put on our skin lots of chemicals and stuff. So you got lotions and your facial stuff. So the stuff that the girls are putting on your face, whether it's your creams or your makeup and things of that nature. You got to make sure that they're not toxic, because if you're day in and day out putting toxins on purpose, it's not a good thing for you. And we absorb a lot through our skin. So you got to start taking those things into account. So lotions, you always get the lotions. I think this paraben free is the big thing. But just go research this stuff. So it's lotions, shampoos, the makeup is obviously a big thing. Let's see where else we're getting exposed. Well, in our food, obviously we're getting exposed a lot. There was a big push for the weed killers. They cause lots of problems, and we thought it was all great because our crops were getting destroyed by weeds, so we sprayed this weed killer which killed all the weeds and the crops grew. But then the weed killer itself, the glyphosate, I believe it's called, it's stuck to the food, and then when we eat the food it's poisonous, and it causes lots of things, cancer and all kinds of issues. So that's why the big push for organic food. Okay, so organic food doesn't have these same pesticides. With that said, those lines are getting blurred, and the organic foods is not, you gotta be careful. You gotta look around, you gotta figure out what's out there. But food is definitely a toxic problem, and so that's another thing you can start addressing. The water that you drink, again, there's fluoride in the water, that you can avoid that. So tap water has fluoride, and a lot of these filtered water companies. So interesting thing like Dasani and what's that other? There's a Pepsi brand. Well, it's expensive bottled water, right? You're gonna pay $2 or $3 for a bottled water, and you come to find out when you do a little bit of research, Pepsi essentially gets it out of the tap and filters it, right? So why don't you just buy a filter and do the same thing instead of paying $2 or $3 for one bottle of water? You can pay $2 or $3 for a filter and get hundreds of gallons of water. What's up, Marie? You say you ready? I'm ready to help. Okay, what's the BMI we need for surgery? So we don't have any BMI limits. We don't calculate it at this point. So, if you've been turned down elsewhere, that's probably not going to be the issue here. We help larger individuals routinely. That's kind of become our little niche. Okay. All right, Shirley says, you love how I left Tatiana. She looks amazing. That's awesome. I like seeing people do well. All right, we're going to close up here in just a minute. Any other questions you guys might have? All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll be back maybe later this week or next week. If you have any other questions or concerns, you can always message us. If you're serious and you're ready to make a change in your life, the next step is doing that consultation. On Instagram, the links there for the free consultation, but we also have the paid consultation, which is $100, and the $100 comes off your procedure costs. But that'll allow you to expedite your consultation, jump to the front of the line, and get the procedure much quicker. So this is meant for serious people that are ready to just move, right? So pay $100. It ends up being free anyways if you get the procedure, but you can make a bigger difference a lot faster. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back soon.